Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with a Fairy Tale Friday, and we are going to be doing Jack and the Beanstalk today. Welcome back to my channel. I do want to just remind you to hit that subscribe button, the like button, to make sure that I know that you guys like these videos and enjoy my content. I also want to say I apologize if you hear any weird pitch in the background. My neighbor, who is right outside, decided to vacuum his car and work on his car. I swear, every time I sit down to film, he has been inside all day. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But as soon as I sit down to film, he decides to work on the car. It just never fails. And then the dog barks. So, I'm sorry, this is the only time I have to film, so bear with me on that. But anyway, today we are doing Jack and the Beanstalk, which is an interesting story because it pretty much, for the most part, follows what I'm used to hearing about Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk is not something that is foreign to me, but I'll go ahead and kind of break it down for you guys. So, the story starts with Jack selling the cow. We all know the story, and it's kind of funny because, I don't know, it's basically like, you know, he and his mom are very poor and she doesn't have any more money, and so she says to him, take the cow to the marketplace and sell the cow to get, what did she say? I think he's just supposed to sell the cow and just get some cash so they can have some food and stuff. So the mom is too weak, she's too sick, so she sends her son Jack. And Jack goes to the market. He's really sad he's going to be selling the cow because he really enjoyed the cow's company. And this guy comes up to him and he's like, you want some beans? And this is such a typical thing like a kid would do. Like, such a typical thing. You know, he completely sells the beans to Jack, and Jack's like, you know what, let's get some beans, you know, let's not think about it's gonna have to grow and we're gonna have to water it, and if it doesn't actually grow things, we're screwed. Like, total kid move to believe this guy, right? So he goes ahead and gets the beans. He's really proud of it, really excited. He doesn't see the obvious, why would you do that? And so he goes off to his mom. He's like, I got some beans. And she's like, I should have known. We're gonna die. I should have known. That's basically how she feels. And I'm just like, yeah, I'd be the same way. So I liked that kind of interaction. And then so he's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna plant these beans. I'm gonna take care of them. It's gonna be great. No magic beans, Mom. You don't understand. So he goes ahead and plants the beans, and lo and behold, the next day it's a huge beanstalk, as you know. So he goes outside and he's like, I should climb this. I should climb this beanstalk. That sounds like a really good idea. You know, it's kind of like when we see a tree as kids. It's like, I'm gonna climb that. So he goes inside and says, Mom, but he's like, now he's thinking, he's like, well, I kind of screwed up with the beans and not getting her permission to buy them, so I should probably get her permission to climb the beanstalk. That makes sense. And she's like, no, don't climb the beanstalk. He's like, no, I need to climb the beanstalk. So he manipulates her into saying, yes, go ahead and climb it. So he goes ahead and climbs up. And, you know, it goes up and up and up and up. And he comes to, it's not clouds, it's literally, I would say, a portal to another universe, because it's literally another universe. It's the fairyland, or it's on the border of the fairyland. It was literally a portal into a separate universe. And he comes across this woman in a red hat, and she's like, hi, so this castle, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And she explains to him, which I had not known this part of the story before, so it might be new to some of you. But basically, she says, well, once upon a time, there was a prince or a king, and he had a wife and a few kids, and it was happy, whatever. And then this giant came. He got really jealous of the king, and so he killed all of them in the middle of the night. He broke in, killed all of them, and then, except for the wife, because the wife had taken a trip and had taken the youngest baby with her. And so somebody escapes from the castle, lives through the giant attack, comes to her and says, you can't go back. Like, there's a giant, and she's like, no, I'm gonna go back. I got to know for my own, like, I have to go back. And they're like, no, you have a baby. Be thankful you have your child. Leave it be. Don't go back. So, lo and behold, it is revealed that that baby is Jack, and his mother is the queen of that castle. So everything in this castle is Jack's. So this woman does say to Jack, you need the golden egg and the magical harp. So he's like, okay, I think I can do that. He walks up, he blows a horn, a woman giant comes out and takes him and says, you're gonna be basically my maid. You're gonna be the person to help me out around the house. That's what I need. I need some assistance. But we're gonna hide you, because if the Mr. Giant sees you, he'll kill you and eat you. Like, whatever. So she locks him in this closet that's huge. Like, this huge wardrobe, and it's said that the keyhole of this wardrobe is so big that it lets air in and he can actually see out. So the giant wakes up and says, you know, Levi both, there's an Englishman here, and the wife giant is like, no, you're old, you're stupid, you're deaf. Go ahead, and this is what you're smelling, this elephant that I made you. Just eat the elephant. He's like, okay, cool. So after dinner, he says, can you please bring me my goose who lays the golden egg? So he gets the chicken, or the goose. I would say it's a chicken, but it might be a goose. Anyway, it's the bird who lays the eggs. And from my understanding, it's a regular-sized goose. It's not a giant goose. It doesn't lay giant eggs, because I feel like in a lot of retellings of this, it's like you get like a giant golden egg, when in reality it's just like the size of a normal egg. That's how my understanding of this went. So he says, lay an egg. He says, lay. And the chicken lays a golden egg. And then he says, lay. And she lays a golden egg. And he says, lay. And she lays a golden egg. So Jack goes ahead and steals the bird after the giant has fallen asleep. He sneaks out, grabs the bird, runs out, and back down the beanstalk, and which is hilarious to me because it's super high up, and you would need like both hands to climb down, not to mention that you have a living creature. I can't fathom how he got down this beanstalk, but he did, and he gives it to his mother. He says, I understand now. I understand that you're the queen, and da-da-da, and I'm gonna go back. And she's like, oh, I was so worried about you, but now we're gonna be very rich because you have brought this to me. He's like, I'm going back up there. And she's like, no. He's like, too bad, I'm going. So he goes up there again. He disguises himself by dyeing his hair, and the wife giant comes back out. He does the same thing as last time. She brings him back in. The giant comes back out and says there's an Englishman. She says, no, you're old and stupid. It is the steak I have for you, etc. Same story, second verse. And then he says, bring me the money bags from the knight who used to live here. So she brings out a few money bags, and she's like, well, as soon as you spend all this, we're going to have to get a new castle because, like, we're not going to have anything. And he's like, cool. And Jack's like, no, you're never going to hurt anybody again. So when he falls asleep, he gets the money bags that is his belongings because it is in his castle. It's his father's money, and so it is his inheritance. He has all claims to it. He goes ahead and goes down the beanstalk again, gives it to his mother, and goes right back up. From there, again, he disguises himself and the wife comes out and takes him in. Then the giant says, "Bring me my magical harp." And this harp was the same harp that the woman told him about earlier. It's a magical harp that, like, plays a tune, whatever you want. And so the giant's like, "Well, play me a happy tune, play me this tune, play me a lullaby." So he plays a lullaby, the giant falls asleep. Jack kind of wanders around, makes sure no one's around, grabs the harp. The harp screams and wakes up the giant. Jack realizes this is a fairy harp or something, like a fairy in a shape of a harp. I don't understand it. Didn't really explain it, but it yelled. And the giant wakes up and is like, "Oh, you're the thief." So he's chasing him. He falls. And then Jack scurries down the beanstalk and is at the bottom, gives it to his mother, and then says to his mother, "Hey, go get me an axe because this guy's coming. Like, we have to cut this thing down. He's coming to get us. Like, we gotta cut it down." So they cut it down. He falls off the beanstalk. He breaks his neck. He dies. The woman comes back out with the red hat and says, "Congratulations. The castle is now yours. You have slain the giant. Now go back up and go to the castle and kill off the wife." And he's like, "I'm not going to go kill off the wife. She has done nothing but be kind to me. I'm not going to kill an innocent woman who is not attacking me. Now, if she attacks me, I'll kill her, but I'm not just going to walk in and slaughter a innocent person, essentially." And so they're like, okay. They go on back up, they walk in, and the mistress giant sees them walking toward the castle and panics and runs down the steps or something and trips and breaks her neck. And so by the time they finally get the door open, they see the giant has broken her neck. They go ahead and bury her, and well and behold, he is now the man of the castle. And that is how it ends. And happily ever after, right there and then. So I kind of liked this story. It was a longer story. Something that was interesting in it was kind of broken up into different stories. And what I mean by that is I would be reading it, and then it would have a title, and it would say "The Hen That Lays the Golden Eggs." So it is a hen, it's not a goose. And then the money bags. Like, it had like titles as if like chapters in this story. So I found that interesting and didn't really understand why, but hey. But yes, so that is my Fairy Tale Friday. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and hit that subscribe and like button. Leave me a comment down below letting me know your favorite fairy tale. Next week, we will be reading, let's see here, Drakestale, I think it's called. I will have to look up the pronunciation of that, but it's Drake and then Stale, S-T-A-I-L. So I will go ahead and look up the pronunciation of that. But if you haven't read that story, that is going to be the next one. I've never heard of it, and I am quite excited. So with that being said, I will go ahead and say goodbye, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye!